Hello, my name is Dr. Michelle Maidenberg. This is part 2 of using grounding exercises to decrease your anxiety and stress. This is a particularly stressful time of year, when we're transitioning, from the summer into the academic school, year. Also with everything gearing up, with getting ready for school, getting ready again to tackle the new season coming. And then the uncertainty that we're still left with, not knowing like where this is all going to go, right? There's a lot of buzz in the media about a second wave, about the flu coming. So everybody's a little, also there's a lot of controversy about masks. Well, I'm not about the mask wearing, but about people selecting or not selecting to wear, even though there's, specific protocol. So I'm just noting a lot of irritability, a lot of tension, and we can't, of course, forget about the political climate in this country. So a lot of things on our minds at the moment. In my first video, I used a variety of different kind of techniques and skills. So I'm going to give you some other ones this time. And if we do have time, we'll do a guided meditation, a candle guided meditation. If not, then I will do that the next time. So I'm going to show you some things to help ground you in moments of, maybe intense emotions or when you're feeling like very activated. So first thing is you could even use, something like a balloon. And again, this is just to modulate and regulate your breathing. So I taught you the last time the 4-7-8 breathing. There's also box breathing. So what a box is, right? It's 4, 4, 4, and 4. And those are good to use with kids because, again, they're more readily going to remember the 4s than they would the 4-7-8. So again, when we're having like a rapid heart rate or our minds are overthinking or buzzing, right, and we're feeling really uneasy in our body, let's say, it helps to really calm our body. So the box breathing is one, again, to blow through a balloon. And kids also like it as well because obviously it's a balloon. For adults, it's again very handy. You could put it in your bag or wherever. Some people, again, when you're like, say, having kind of anxiety that's coming up or hyperventilating, some people use a paper bag. Obviously, that's not as easy to carry around. So another thing to help with, regulating our tension is these are Chinese balls. They have a little bit of a bell sound to them, but you can get this on the internet. And then again, they're very, very smooth to the touch because of, they're glazed on the outside and they have all these pretty different designs you could get. And just to roll them in your hands. And they have different size for different size hands. These are like, I would say small to medium size, but just to even sit and just hold them and let them kind of roll in your hand is really, really self-regulating. The other thing I would say is using any kind of like putty or stress ball. I love this particular putty. It's really, first of all, the colors are pretty. This is like a kind of a pink one if you could see it. It's really nice. But even more than that, it has the scent of lavender. And these come in all different kinds of scents. Again, you could get them online. This particular one is called Aromatherapy Putty, and it's lavender. You could just see that. And this one is called specifically Relax. And it looks like the company that makes it is called Zorbitz, Zorbitz. Again, I have no affiliation, but I really do like it. Again, it has a wonderful smell of lavender. So, you could just kind of hold it in your hand and you could stretch it. And I like also when, when I'm using these kind of things to have some imagery that goes along with it. So when I'm stretching the putty, it's as if, again, I'm relaxing the muscles, right? Almost like as if you're giving it a massage and you're kneading out those tension-filled areas, right? So you could even imagine that happening, or even if you have like a bit of like a headache or tension in your head, you could just imagine, right? Just kind of rubbing it and smoothing it and, you know, giving it some compassion as well. Okay. And the nice thing about scents is we want to use our senses, you know, to tap into our body. It really does it quickly and efficiently. So when you're able to smell scents that actually are, I would say, you know, soothing and relaxing, it helps to just kind of release stress. The other thing, there are some devices that I use that are kind of metaphors, and those are fun too. And you could use them, you know, with yourself, with your kids. So here's just an example of a stress ball. So the thing that I like about stress balls, besides the fact that they feel really good to the touch, is it really is a metaphor for our thoughts and feelings, right? So if you compress the ball, right, and this represents when we're trying to, let's say, deny or avoid, you know, maybe negative or kind of discomfort or uncomfortable thoughts or feelings. As soon as we let go of it, it rises. So it's not an effective way of dealing with our emotions to avoid or distract, because they just come back just as they were or are, and sometimes even more incessantly. So you really just want to hold it gently in your hand and to really be kind and compassionate, right? And you could use this as a guide, right? So as if this is maybe feelings of fear, right? Like, what is this next potential wave going to bring about? And, you know, if there's family that we haven't been able to see because they're overseas, let's say, or elderly, you know, just being able to hold on to those sad and disappointing and frustrating feelings, right? And just being able to be with it and provide it some warmth and comfort. So those you could definitely use as metaphors sometimes, just to remind yourself to really lean into the feelings rather than, you know, lean out of them. And, you know, sometimes you have these kind of Live Strong bracelets. I actually made these myself. This says, don't believe everything you think. And it also says you're strong, capable, and whole. So sometimes when we're feeling kind of the energy sapped, we really need to remind ourselves of our strength and our resilience and how much adversity we've gotten through in our lives successfully. And sometimes that's attached to old feelings about the way we were, not the way we are. So we also have to differentiate between those thoughts and feelings. And then using a rubber band. So this rubber band, again, you could just use it in your hand. And I like to use, as you can tell, like purple. So I'm using a purple rubber band. But this reminds you to get in touch with your body, right? When you're feeling kind of outside of your body. It's to remind you that you're here, you're safe right here in the moment. We only know what's going on right now, here in the moment. And right now we're safe. And we need to come back to here rather than going to the future or the past. So anything that we could do to remind us and get in touch with that is helpful. And this you could very, very easily put around your wrist. So you could have it with you at all times, which is nice. Looks like we may not have time for the guided meditation, so we'll do that next time. Here, this just happens to be a snow globe, right? So if you turn it over, this happens to have a little image of Buddha, but if you look at it, right, it has like these little sparkles that are kind of, but even just observing it and waiting, right, because some of them, you know, last 2 minutes, 5 minutes, but just watching as, you know, as they fall. And it's very, very peaceful, very relaxing. And I think it's also another good metaphor, right? That we could kind of feel confused, in disarray, in a fog, but eventually, right, we will settle and we will rest. And that's true for anything, right? It rains, the sun will come out eventually. We could feel deep, sad emotion, and then we could intermittently have moments of joy, right? So that's another good metaphor that I like to use. I'm going to show you two more things. One is I love to use, sand again, when we think of sand, we think of particles. And, this is Kinetic Sand, which is nice because it doesn't really get all over the place, but you could get this also online or, in various stores. But, if you hold the Kinetic Sand, it's really, really soft to the touch. And you could also mold it into anything you want to, which is nice too. And the other thing, which I love too, is if you think about sand, or this particular sand, because it's kinetic sand, is it has particles. And when it's divided and when it's alone, right, it could be kind of all over the place. And it really builds and grows its essence through collectivity, right? And through connection and community. So sometimes when we're feeling alone or we're feeling distressed in our own thoughts, it's actually helpful to reach out to others and to normalize our thoughts and feelings. It helps us feel more grounded. And often we could get kind of caught up in that space. I was talking to somebody today, and she was talking about the stress of, her kids going back to school and what that's like for her, and her fear about kind of this hybrid model. And I said, wow, it sounds like you're feeling pretty alone in your thoughts and feelings. And she said, yeah, I almost feel like I'm the only one who's in this space. And I said, I don't think so. Of course not. I can't even tell you how many parents are concerned about this. So I suggested that she join either a Facebook group, and there's tons of them about parents, in quarantine, and parents in COVID, and, returning to school, because it's helpful for her to be able to speak to other parents who are going through something similar so she could get that support. So again, it reminds us sometimes that we have to reach out and that we have to look beyond ourselves, because sometimes we think of I and me as opposed to us and we, right? We're all in this together. As much as it could be distressing, we're all in this together. And last thing, which I'll just show you a little glimpse of, is a candle. I love, love, love to do kind of mindfulness on candles, and I'll just light it, but we'll do a guided meditation on a candle maybe the next time. But if you just look at it, if you just look at the candle, you could just sit and stare at this wonderful candle for many moments, just contemplating, right? And thinking about, and I know for myself, I'll just give you an example. I know the other day, I'm doing some of my own contemplative practice, really thinking about, I guess, how my life has formed me into the person I am today, and, thinking about how I want to advance and what things I really want to focus on in terms of personal growth. And what came up for me is Shempa, which is kind of that quick, I would say very visceral feeling that sometimes has us reacting to anger and frustration. And that's a part that I still want to really work on. And I was thinking about, why that's a little bit of a challenge, and what a habit that is for me, and the coping skills I used maybe as a child that are not very effective as an adult. So sometimes I'll just have kind of these moments of meditation where I'll just think of anger, and I'll think about, what does that feel like for me inside of my body, inside of my mind, my thoughts and my feelings? What does it bring up for me? Or if I think of the word anger, is there moments in my life, during the periods of my life, that connect to that? What's the first story or first circumstance that kind of comes up in my mind? So you could do a lot of contemplative practices over candles, and I really love to use them because it is kind of a moment where you could just focus. So thank you so much. I'll blow that out. Thank you so much. Whoops. Hopefully that is helpful. Got some more skills and tools, and we will do the guided meditation on the candle, like I said. Wishing that you and your families are safe and healthy. Thank you.